My ex slept with my brother one day before our wedding, and now she's messaging me because I'm getting married to someone else. 12 years ago, I was supposed to marry my high school sweetheart. We'd been together for 10 years, lived together for 5. Everyone loved her. My parents treated her like their daughter. The night before the wedding, she told me to stay at a hotel, said it was bad luck for us to be together. I thought it was sweet, romantic even. 3 hours after checking in, I realized I'd forgotten my shoes at home. These weren't just any shoes. They were my grandfather's dress shoes from his wedding. They meant everything to me. I drove back. The house was dark, every light off. That was weird because she always left lights on. Always. I walked straight to our bedroom. That's where I kept the shoebox. I opened the door. My ex was in our bed with my little brother. They were so caught up they didn't even hear me come in. It took them 5 full seconds to notice I was standing there. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. My brain just stopped working. Then I ran. I drove back to the hotel hyperventilating, hands shaking so hard I could barely grip the wheel. I was supposed to get married in 14 hours. When I finally got to my room, I sobbed for an hour straight. Then I pulled myself together enough to start canceling everything. The venue, the caterer, the photographer. Lost $8,000 that night. Didn't care. She texted me 47 times. I counted. Said she was stressed about the wedding. Said my brother had always been there for her. Said it was just one time to blow off steam. I blocked her. Blocked him too. Called my parents at midnight. Told them everything. They went silent for 30 seconds. Then my dad said, "We'll handle your brother." They cut him off completely. He moved to Europe 3 years later. I've seen my ex exactly twice since then. Once when she packed her stuff. Once at a party where I left the second I saw her. I spent 2 years in therapy. Worked on myself. Eventually started dating again. 4 years ago, I met Alexa. She's a kindergarten teacher. Loves hiking. Makes terrible jokes. She's been cheated on before too, so she understood the trust issues I came in with. She was patient, kind, real. Last month I proposed. She said yes immediately. Everything was perfect. We set the date, sent invitations. I was genuinely happy for the first time in over a decade. Then last Tuesday, exactly 1 week before my wedding, I got a Facebook message from an account I didn't recognize. It was her, my ex. She'd somehow found out about my wedding. The message was long, really long. Said she was devastated to hear I was getting married again. Again, like we'd actually been married before. She said she'd never stopped loving me. That what happened with my brother was the biggest mistake of her life. That she'd spent 12 years hoping I'd forgive her. That she couldn't let me marry someone else without trying one more time. I showed Alexa immediately. My hands were shaking. Part of me wanted to just block her and move on. Be the bigger person like I was 12 years ago. But another part of me, the part that spent 2 years in therapy working through what she did, wanted revenge. Alexa looked at the messages, looked at me, then said, "Let's do it." So I texted back 2 hours later. Told her I was finally ready to talk. That I'd been thinking about her too. That maybe we needed closure before I moved on. She responded in under a minute. Said she could come to my place right now, tonight. I said no. Said my fiance would get suspicious. Told her to get a hotel room and I'd meet her there tomorrow afternoon. She agreed immediately. Sent me the hotel name and room number within 10 minutes. The next day I drove to the hotel, room 412. I stood outside the door for 30 seconds just breathing. Then I knocked. She opened it crying, happy tears. Threw her arms around me. Said she couldn't believe I actually came. We sat on the bed. She held my hands. Started explaining everything. How she'd been carrying this guilt for 12 years. How she tried to move on but couldn't. How she heard from a mutual friend that I was getting married and just knew she had to reach out one last time or lose me forever. I nodded along, squeezed her hands, said I understood, asked her to keep explaining. She talked for 20 minutes about regret, about my brother, who she claimed she never spoke to again either, about how we were meant to be together, about how she'd do anything to fix this. I kept checking my watch. She didn't notice. Then there was a knock at the door. Her face went white. "Who's that?" I stood up, smiled, said, "You'll see." I opened the door. Alexa walked in wearing her wedding dress. Full veil, bouquet, everything. My ex's mouth dropped open. Alexa looked at her and said, "Hi, I'm the woman he's marrying in 6 days. I just wanted to meet the person who made room for me in his life by destroying him 12 years ago. Thank you for that." Then we walked out together, left her sitting there in that hotel room. We got married last Saturday. My ex didn't show up.